Ah. So it's a good place to start to feel into your inner being in regards to any moment, but especially in regards to the topic. Maintaining inner harmony in the face of life's challenges. It seems to be maybe what leads many of us into spirituality in the first place. Hi, Nancy. Right, wanting to have a place of refuge, an inner place of peace. That no matter what's happening, there's a place inside that that we can touch to connect again with our inner being, our sense of self. It's kind of like a touchstone. I have a stone right here. I think it's sujolai. Just it's just a metaphor, a symbol, a touchstone, but a touchstone within yourself. Until it becomes a permanent kind of inner knowing where you don't need to necessarily go and touch it to remember. Until that happens, it's nice to tune into and find what is it within yourself that is most true and is unmoving inside of you in the midst of all this movement. Because no matter what's happening in the world, there's always going to be movement, right? Even during times of let's say in your own personal life, harmony, things are going your way. And then we are afraid of when things are going to start not going our way, which ends up happening now and then, right? All the way to the world being quite out of balance, which is a reflection of our own inner disharmony. But regardless, it all comes down to the same kind of inner koan, whether it's a small thing or a really big thing. How are you meeting the moment? How are you meeting this moment? Any moment that's arising, right? So anything from having a flat tire to the death of someone we love and the shock of that. How are you meeting the moment? And I think that everything that's coming up is an invitation to meet the moment as directly and soberly as possible. Because wherever you protect yourself from meeting something directly, there's going to be residue. And we'll be given over and over and over more chances to be completely naked with a moment. And that's really a large part of the spiritual journey is learning how to let go of resistance. But it starts with ourselves. Learning how to open to ourselves first. And how are we meeting our own inner experience, right? Really, it's all about learning how to open, turn towards, and feel the impact of life touching us. And that's the whole point, is to be alive. Right? The whole point. Wanting to try to make sense of things is at times, not always, a type of resistance. Right? It's kind of like putting an overlay over direct experience. I want to understand this, or I want to create meaning out of this. It's kind of like stepping back a bit and wanting to be more the driver in the situation. Let me think about how I feel. Rather than just learning how to really directly feel. So there's a way to stay current with life's situation and circumstances and with our life by meeting it moment to moment directly. It takes practice. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but it's totally worth it. Even worry. Worry is a distraction to directly feeling. You know, that habit of worry. which can also be linked to like anxiety, like a constant state of anxiety kind of living in the background in your being. It's kind of this removed distance. Anxiety is like a red herring. Yeah, it has a lot of different aspects to it, including nervous system overload and so on. But it's a way for consciousness to be kind of distracted from meeting life directly. Can you see that? You know? At least it's a something, anxiety, worry. It's at least something rather than going into the unknown of the moment as it is. Like give me something in this nothing that I can really actually hold on to. And that includes things such as just in terms of not in its pure state, but in terms of a kind of distraction, in terms of identity, this like a type of caring that we can have. Like I care for the world. There may be immense amount of truth in that. When caring arises out of the heart and is really a unified caring where it cares for all of itself, not just for some things versus others, but really is a genuine, pure feeling of caring for all life, including yourself. But this another type of caring can be kind of a way of maintaining a bit of distance. Once again, to not feel directly in the moment what you're experiencing. So in my feeling is that the first step of being able to maintain inner equilibrium is actually to meet our feelings directly, to tell ourselves the truth about what we're experiencing. Even if you throw out all the ideas of what spirituality is supposed to look like. If you feel fear, tell yourself the truth about that and let yourself feel the vibration of fear. If you feel sadness, let yourself honestly, directly feel what sadness feels like. If you feel out of control, good. Because that's the truth. We're not in control. So really let yourself feel, what is it like to not be in control? Because when we really tell ourselves the truth about anything, right, and we go into the intelligence of what it's trying to reveal, and we're not sidestepping it, throwing up concepts instead of directly experiencing. And we get to find out what it's really made of, what anything is really ultimately made of, and it's the same thing of what we're ultimately made of. You know, that saying, the whole universe is contained in a grain of sand. Well, the same is true for anything that's arising. Any feeling state, anything that's arising. If you go deeply into it enough, you'll find the universe, the entirety, all of life, the mystery being contained within it. And we might actually be able to find out what lies in the center of anything that's arising over and over and over again. With mystery, the unknown, the empty center that lies within everything that's arising. If you go deeply into anything, any felt experience, let yourself fully dive in to anything, you'll find what's at the center of it. So however amped up your life is, or what's happening with the world, which can definitely tax the nervous system, and all the things that are unmet within are going to be touched. So it's so important right now to get your inner house as be as honest as you can with your inner being, what's going on. Yeah. There's no time like right now to start facing yourself and tell the truth. Because what else are you going to do? And however much you're freed up inside, the more that you're going to feel actually impacted by life, but in a direct way. So balance is key, always is. Balance, maintaining inner balance of this, remembering your empty nature, right? That which isn't affected and touched by anything, actually. But that's not the whole story, right? And then the other aspect, it's completely touched and completely affected and completely felt, right? Such a paradox. Such an amazing paradox, but it's the most exciting thing happening. Really, every moment becomes so alive, so enlivened. You wouldn't want to be anywhere else but right there on that leading edge of that aliveness. So to the degree that you're willing to completely meet your experience, and to the degree that you're able to go to the center, to that which is the unmanifested within the manifested, which is at the core, the seed core within everything, that's your touchstone. Right? That's what the unchanging and unmoving is your touchstone. And it has this effect of being able to make one actually be incredibly present to everything that's arising. Because there's no need to hide or protect yourself any longer. Because you're centered in truth, you're centered in your being. There's a place inside that's unshakable and unmovable. And it's like, okay, I'm actually ready to live. And to experience and not shy away from what can unseat you when we don't have that touchstone. And the other piece, it has to do with letting go. Letting go of maintaining control, letting go of imagining that you're doing everything, letting go of imagining anybody is doing anything. Because when you really touch on the empty nature of your own being, how can there be really a doer there? It's all universal. It's universal consciousness doing. Even feeling like a personal self is universal consciousness feeling like a personal self. The feeling of like you're the doer is the divine feeling like it's a doer. There's no separate self there. If there's only the divine, really, and not two things going on, then there's only the divine. So the divine, it takes birth and has this journey. And it has almost 8 billion of these journeys. And each one is unique. And it's God experiencing itself, You've heard that. Yes, there's conditioning. Conditioning is playing itself out. But does that still mean that there's a doer there in the conditioning when someone responds to you in a certain way? Or things are happening in the world that we might not like? These are really, fundamentally, these are questions to look at for yourself, explore. Is there really a separate somebody in there that's like making these choices? Seems like it, right? I invite you to look deeply and find out for yourself what's true. Because what I have discovered for myself is that there isn't. And that released a lot of pressure. That released a lot of energy to no longer feel like I'm the one in control. It makes it so that one becomes more of a responder to life. You respond in the moment. It's like a very insecure thing to really be operating under the belief that we're all separate selves. It's extremely insecure and frightening. Can you imagine the amount of relaxation that can come over oneself? Perhaps some of you know this. I'm sure some do. The amount of relaxation that starts to happen in the body as it deepens in the understanding that life is doing. And any of the conditioning that has been created in defense to life, with the idea that it needs to maintain control, gets to be released over time. It gets to let go and go, this is not needed. Don't need to hang on to this. The body can start to, the tissues and the muscles and everything, not just the mind, but everything can suddenly let go. And it takes some time, it's like, oh, it's still holding on here. It's still believing that it needs to hold on. And it can let go and be emptied out more and more. And it's the opposite of what we think is going to happen. The opposite, like we're not going to care anymore. Actually, there's more caring than ever. Because it's not a defense to life. It's not a defense mechanism, caring. It's actually true caring. And connection to others. We think, oh, we're going to feel less connected if we don't feel like we're, and those are all ideas of the mind, like we're a separate self or something. And if we don't maintain some, whatever that is, that we're not going to be in personal relationship with people anymore. But it's not true. It's like even with plants, some plants thrive around other plants, right? It's called, like in gardeners know about companion planting. And you plant certain plants next to others and they produce better food and fruit and they just thrive. They don't have a separate self sense. And trees, they like their own, and they nourish each other and maintain like root health for one another. And the life cares about itself. And it has its own, what you could maybe even call preferences. And another piece is about wishing that the world were different. In terms of this topic. Right? Well, that's not a problem. Wish away, right? None of this is a problem. I understand the sentiment. Of course we wish. There's some real truth to that. Our hearts, our hearts care. It hurts to see what's being played out, right? But the real power, actually, rather than just wishing, real power lies in being. You've heard that saying, be the change you wish to see in the world. Being being that which you wish to see. Take responsibility for your inner state and how you're being in the world. Bring the gift of you. You wish to see life and others even and be different. Well, offer yourself. You be different. We're all, each one of us here, we're unique worlds upon ourselves. We each have our own belief, just the way we're living our world is based on our beliefs and also based on what's open and free inside. And we're such unique expressions in that way, and it's in evolution, right? We're in evolution. So I've spoken about this before with people who've come to my groups. People know that I say this, that but it's worth saying again, that we transmit our inner state into the environment. So we're transmitters. We can't even fudge, like I'm going to be acting peaceful and be, that's not such a bad thing to practice. What does it feel like to be kind and to speak in a non-judgmental way? And it's like bringing awareness to ourselves, perhaps. But what's not in awareness of it, what is still in shadow, is just as much being broadcast. We can't fool reality. And it's not wrong or bad, it's just the way it is. We can't pretend. Someone else might buy it, but we're not fooling reality, which we are. So being authentic to ourselves is so important, telling ourselves the truth. And being kind, right? Being loving to ourselves. Okay, let's see. Well, there you go. That's what happens when I start talking. It goes on. Not that anyone is complaining, but it's like we have lots of time still. And I just also, want to bring up something that's super important, and that's the power of love, the redeeming power of love. It's not like we have to figure it all out and to get our inner ducks in order, and through processing and picking everything up. A lot of this we can love our way. We can love our way back to reality, to wholeness. Because the heart is undivided. So how does the heart perceive life? How does the heart perceive the world as it is? How does the heart perceive you, your sense of you? So it just brings the attention from here to here. And as a felt sense, you can move outwards. Like, how is the heart perceiving this other person, this being, this situation? It's also less, it's more direct, the way it experiences, rather than thinking. What are we thinking about this person? What are we thinking about life in the world? So how does the heart perceive? Okay.